The war between the US and Iran has produced another moment of sudden drastic shift in diplomacy. US President Donald Trump announced that a sweeping settlement to halt military strikes has been reached. According to the US administration, the final documents are being processed and a formal signing ceremony could take place in Europe within days. However, Iran has explicitly rejected this claim. Officials in Tehran are calling the US announcement baseless, asserting that no agreement has been approved or finalized. Adding to the friction, Israel has stated that it's entirely unaware of any finalized deal, while Iran has gone on to accuse Washington of moving the goalposts by introducing entirely new demands at the 11th hour. Cast your mind back to the month of May last year. The US had declared that a sweeping nuclear deal was very close. Tehran responded by saying no deal was imminent and that America's key demands were, in their words, a fantasy. Then in late May this year, Washington said a broad peace agreement has been finalized. Iran said its red lines were being ignored and walked away from the table. And now Trump has said the final deal is done and ready to be signed. Iran has again said nothing of the sort is true. 3 times, 3 announcements, 3 denials, no agreement. The immediate security situation remains incredibly tense. In a sharp post on Truth Social, Trump heavily criticized Iran, calling their public statements dishonorable and accusing them of leaking fake terms to the press. He stressed that the actual terms agreed to in writing look nothing like what Tehran is telling the public. Furthermore, the president condemned what he described as a totally rebuffed drone attack against Indian ships leaving the strategic Strait of Hormuz, warning Iran that they must get their act together immediately. At its core, this volatile standoff is driven by 4 massive unresolved issues. The first is the Strait of Hormuz itself, where Washington demands free naval transit and international oversight, while Iran insists on absolute sovereign control. The second is the nuclear program, where the US wants intrusive inspections and caps, while Iran defends its right to enrich uranium. The third sticking point involves regional alliances, with the US demanding Iran cut ties with its proxy networks, which Tehran refuses to do, calling them a defensive necessity. And finally, there is the economic battleground where Washington uses crippling sanctions as leverage, while Iran refuses to sign anything without immediate sanctions relief and the release of its frozen global assets. So the big questions that we are asking is, President Trump says a deal is written down and ready to sign in Europe, while Iran calls that claim completely baseless. How can 2 governments be looking at the exact same negotiation and report such wildly contradictory outcomes to the public? Trump claims Iran launched a drone strike on Indian ships in the Strait of Hormuz, even as talks were supposedly at their most advanced stage. What does that tell us about how Tehran views the negotiations and how much it trusts Washington's intentions? We have Brigadier Vinod Datta, defense expert, now joining us. Thank you, Brigadier Vinod Datta, for taking time out to be with us. We also have Suresh Goyal, former Indian diplomat, with us. Ambassador Suresh Goyal, thank you so much for being with us. Let me begin by asking Brigadier Vinod Datta, we've all seen war and coverage of war. For the common people watching it, has this ever happened? Negotiations are supposedly ongoing, but we wonder what these negotiations are because both the sides have a completely different tale to tell.
Good evening. Firstly, you are right. All protocols and whatever, you see, the SOPs were there as far as negotiations were concerned. I think America has really, turned the turtle. Now, you see, whenever you have such peace talks, one of the major thing is confidence building measures. I mean, they have been missing because at one hand, even if you see when the war broke on 28th of February, Iran and America, they were in negotiation. And America, it struck Iran, in such a dastardly act that it finished the top leadership. Now, this is against all the ethics. If you are if you want somebody on a negotiating table, you have to honor the protocols. There is something which is called that, yes, if you have given a word, please honor it. Otherwise, you see, America being such a big nation, it is, Trump is president of one of the biggest, one of the oldest democracies and one of the biggest nation. I mean, it doesn't go in their favor. Secondly, you see, the demands of America, some of them are really very, unrealistic. At one hand, if you see, firstly, the reliability, like in military parlance, in intelligence, they say the intelligence grades are done from A to C. So here, the information and the source both are Charlie 3, which means that neither the source can be relied nor the information can be relied, because Trump has been making such statements in past also that yes, we are just nearing the peace talks, or they are likely to be concluded. But whereas Iran has been always refuting it, so he gives statements which suit himself, which are far from truth. If you see America, as it claimed in June 2025 war, that yes, we have finished the entire nuclear installations. There was nothing found, which gave an indication that Iran is going in for a nuclear warhead. So, if all these statements, I mean, they were negated, then what was the reason of attacking Iran? They wanted a change of regime. There are various other methods by which you can have a change of regime. It is the people who can decide that, yes, which leadership they want. So America has miserably failed, and even these talks, because Iran, if you see the kind of attrition warfare they have waged against America, America is now on knees. America desperately wants peace talks. They want to get out of this imbroglio because America cannot take it. The Senate is not going to clear them, and as it is any war which goes for more than 40 days, the government sanction is required, whereas in the instant case, it was not taken. So all these factors are going against Trump and America, whereas Iran is standing, taller, though Iran has had a lot of losses. But in such conflicts, it is not the losses which matter. It is that has America been able to achieve any of its terminal objectives? The answer is plain and simple no, because America could neither, with so much of might, with so much of military, with so much of naval, blockade, America has not been able to open the Strait of Hormuz. Even if they undertake, firstly, America is scared. Secondly, it had requested its own allies, and they refused that, yes, we are not going to be part of this operation.
Right.
And even if this operation is undertaken, it will take months to clear the Strait of Hormuz from the mines and various other obstacles which they have put.
Okay. Suresh Goyal, we don't want to be sitting here guessing what is going to be Trump's next move. Clearly, there has been a pattern. We've mapped this pattern from May of last year to the May of this year. There has never been any kind of congruence between the statements that the US makes and Trump makes and what Iran makes, which means that at this stage, even the stock markets will stop responding to any kind of these hints or, alluding to a possible peace deal, because it looks like there is no actual peace deal on the table. Please unmute yourself, sir. Please unmute yourself, sir.
Okay, how much time do I have?
You have time, sir. Please go ahead. You have a couple of minutes for sure.
All right. First of all, it's very clear that the negotiations are not between two countries. are equal. Negotiations are between two sides which both want to win the negotiations, but they're both on the losing side, and they're trying to increase the betting power, their leverages in the negotiations through not reality, but what they can actually believe, tell the other side to believe in. For example, when the USA says that the Iran is very close to a deal, they are saying that basically without Iran saying yes or no, right immediately, for Iran, their own security is a must. If you keep on breaking the ceasefire, if you continue to attack Iranian territory, obviously Iran is not going to be basically listening to or trust the other side as to what they're saying in terms of a ceasefire or agreement. Having said that, two or three essentials. For Iran, I don't think that either the Strait of Hormuz or the nuclear material agreement is a very critical point. If you remember, even before February 28, Omani side had clearly indicated that Iran was very close to agreeing to the American term. An attack took place, and therefore, whatever Iran might have agreed to went for a six. But I don't think Iran will really stay on the nuclear security or the nuclear material as a condition for the agreement. States of Hormuz, again, a critical point, but please do remember that Iran is using the States of Hormuz as a leverage. It's using the States of Hormuz as a point to really enforce or compel USA to negotiate with Iran. The two critical points for Iran are, and which I don't think are easy to meet, are two. Number one, a kind of a guarantee or assurance to Iran on its own security. Till American bases continue in the Gulf countries, until there's a danger to the Iranian security, either from the Kishnai island or through the Kharge island, it is going to continue. And therefore, unless Iran gets some kind of an assurance from the USA about security, it's going to be difficult. And number two, sanctions and freezing of assets. I don't think on these 2 points USA has been able to give any kind of assurance to Iran so far. But my one hope is that both Iran and the USA are keen to come to some kind of an agreement, because Iran is also not very comfortable now with the continuing war.
Right.
For midterm elections are important. So sooner or later, they will both come to agree on a common point.
Well,
Then, difficult to say.
Well, that's the question we're asking over here, because Brigadier Vinod Datta, there has to be a deal at some stage. I remember when it began at the end of a couple of months ago, the question was, can a deal be reached before the month of June, because that will save the global economy from so much trouble. The fact that this has gone on till June already means for the rest of the year there's going to be ripple effects on the global economy, on crude oil prices, and across the board inflationary risks for the entire world. So we're sitting on a ticking time bomb over here. Trump and Iran need to come to a deal at least by the end of this month, if not earlier.
Yeah, I agree with you, because the way things have been stretched, like for 2 months there was a ceasefire, and of course I don't say the diplomatic channels were working, and they were trying to negotiate and bring all the three stakeholders to the table. But somehow it has not, they are still nebulous, and it has not taken any shape. Secondly, if this energy crisis continues, every day the problem is getting compounded, and more so, India is getting impacted very badly, because we are the largest consumers, and we have one of the largest demographic footprint in the world. Now, the other countries, now they should impress upon America that yes, a via media has to be, achieved. Like Mr. Goyal has very nicely put across that you see, unless America has to show, a big heart. They have to, come down to Iran's level, because Iran, some of the demands are very, very justified. if you're not releasing their funds, if you're not, loosening the sanctions, how will Iran survive? You have put all kind of blockade. I mean, the war is not started on 28th of February or last year in June. It is going on for last almost 47, 48 years. So all these things have to be kept in mind. And Iran is not going to buzz because Iran is now putting a pressure. And Iran has been able to achieve its terminal objectives by bringing down America to the knees and asking America to have truce.
Okay, one last thing, Suresh Goyal. We're talking about the via media that Brigadier Vinod Dutta is also talking about. Pakistan was supposed to be that via media between Iran and the US, but right now there's no talk of Pakistan.
Ha, 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 ha. That's my response.
Well, which means that there is no via media. What was purportedly a via media, it was not exactly a via media. I'm afraid that leaves things even more uncertain. Who is going to be, which international power is going to step into the situation and genuinely take these negotiations to a logical conclusion? That's the big question. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it at that. Ambassador Suresh Goyal and Brigadier Vinod Dutta, thank you so much for taking time out to be this here on In Your Interest.